So we all know Marina Mabrey is gone from the Chicago Sky. We know that she's gone in a bit of a weird trade package. Not a bad one for the Sun. I think the Sun are happy and the Sky are happy. I think it's probably a win-win trade. But right now, I can't lie. I think the way they're replacing Mabrey has left more questions than answers. Before we get on to, if you guys aren't new to the channel, subscribe. We are 7 of 25,700. But I was expecting them to be replacing her with Rachel Banham. If you know anything about Rachel Banham, is she the greatest player in the world? No. But what does she do? She spots up and she shoots the ball. She hit 8 threes, I think, in a game for the Sun. She's been a bench player. Like, she's fine. Like, Rachel Banham is a completely fine bench player. But it seems, according to the practices, that Michaela Onyenwere is coming in as the new small forward. And look, Onyenwere is a former Rookie of the Year, albeit in an awful rookie class. The worst ever. But she's a former Rookie of the Year, so I don't want people to keep going about the Fever and being like, oh, look, the Fever have X amount of like top first round picks, and one of them being Nalissa Smith. Being like, oh, it's a top 2 pick, Nalissa Smith. It's Caitlin Clark's fault. She hasn't developed. It's like, man, the Sky have second in Rookie of the Year Kennedy Carter. The Sky have Rookie of the Year Onyenwere. The Sky have a top 3 pick in Cardoso, so they should be decent. But again, I do think that argument is dumb either way. I do think either way, trying to justify any answer for Rookie of the Year than Caitlin Clark is dumb. But I don't get this. I actually do like Onyenwere as a player. I just don't understand why the Chicago Sky are insisting that the 3-point line does not exist in the year of 2024. I don't get it. Like, I get it. Teresa Weatherspoon's an old school coach, and I do think that old school style of coaching is perfect for an Angel Reese, for a Kennedy Carter. And I think, again, I'll say this. After Kennedy Carter cheap shotting Caitlin Clark, going on Twitter to badmouth Caitlin Clark after cheap shotting her, a lot of coaches would have thrown their player under the bus. And you can tell that Teresa Weatherspoon, like, the way that she dealt with it, you could tell from that moment on, Kennedy Carter became one of the best guards in the league, if not the best guard in the league. She had a trust. She developed a trust with her coach for the first time in the WNBA. Coach trusted her. It's a perfect scenario. I think the same thing happened when Angel Reese went to celebrate that. And then when Angel Reese kind of got too wrapped up in the game the second time, when I just think she had a bad game. I don't think she meant to hit Caitlin Clark in the head. I think she had a bad game. But after that, she was pulled from the media, and then she had her best 5 or 6 game stretch after that. But the problem with Onyenwere is, like, you've replaced Marina Mabrey, who has been your, like, at times your best player. Probably for most of the season been their 3rd best player at this stage, but at times been their best. For a 3.6 point per game scorer, who averaged, other than her rookie year, like she averaged 8 points on a really bad Mercury team last year. Why? Because she had 14 in one game where they lost to a Liberty team without Breanna Steward and without Lainey Hamilton. Like, this was a terrible loss. This was an absolutely terrible loss earlier. Whatever about the other one. She had 14, 9, 4, 7, and 0 against the Aces. Like, she had 9, again, to be fair, she did have 9 against the Aces in one of the games anyway. But like the 27th of June, like, she didn't play for half of the month of July. Like, you're looking at a player here who had 13 in a win against the Liberty, and then went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, who went 14 games. I don't know how many DMPs were in that without scoring 10 in double digits again. I don't think that she is the answer to that starting spot, but I also don't necessarily think that Rachel Banham is either. Like, I know that she's a lights out shooter. She doesn't do anything else. So I'm still confused at this trade for Chicago. And more so than anything, I'm just confused at it from the position of, I don't know what Chicago are trying to do. Are they trying to push for that playoffs? Are they trying to rebuild? Are they confident enough that they can finish 8th while gaining some assets? Or are they trying to get back in the lottery? And they don't have their pick, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe they're trying to get back into that lottery, assuming the Valkyries are going to get the 5th pick. Because I think if you're Chicago, you're probably thinking, we are a point guard away from being elite and like a wing. And I think if you're Chicago, you're probably somewhat confident in a Satu coming. I don't think she does. I don't see really how that fits. But if you can find they're similar in the case with Indiana, that they both need that 3-and-D wing. But if you can find a 3-and-D wing, and as well as that, you can go and find a point guard. And point guards are hard to find. There's not that many good ones. But if you've got, let's just say, in the draft, you fall back into the lottery and you get the 3rd pick. You look into the 3rd pick. And that means there's going to be a team that will trade you an all-star level point guard for the 3rd pick and whatever the Sun pick is. Like, I'm going straight to... I'm trying to... You're probably not going to get Tash Cloud from the Mercury. But I'm going straight, especially if the Storm experiment falls through. I know she's on the older end at 35. Is Skylar Diggins worth... Skylar Diggins is not worth that. I'd go for whatever the Storm pick is, plus Skylar Diggins for the 3rd pick, maybe. If you can get that. Like, that would be an ideal trade. And then, again, you've tested Onyenwere. She could be a good starter. I doubt it, but she could be. And then you're coming into the next season just needing that one piece. That one piece in free agency. Because I don't think, unless you look into... You're not getting Paige, but Paige is the only player I think that would make, in this draft, that would make an instant impact in Chicago. I don't think Kiki Ariafen starts. I don't think Anissa Morrow is what they need because she can't really shoot the 3-ball. Unless, again, they just don't think about the 3-ball. I don't think Malonga starts for this team. Obviously, she doesn't. I don't think... Like, someone like a Tahina Pau Pau could help, but like she's going to be a late first-round pick and not going to come in as a starter because point guards very rarely do. So, yeah, this is who they're looking to replace Marina Mabrey with. I think they have to be tanking because replacing your shooter, and I know percentages-wise, it's nothing too crazy, but like Onyenwere is shooting, 31% or something for her career. She's not a great shooter, and Mabrey's someone who is shooting a little bit higher percentage, but when she's shooting well, can really light it up. So the Chicago Sky deciding that the 3-point line doesn't exist is a bit strange. The only reason it's not strange is if they are tanking, which the more I think about it, the more they probably are tanking. The more they're just putting out a team where they can still give 100% and maybe it's just structured bad enough they lose anyway. Maybe that's the video. I could be so wrong about this, and the Chicago Sky could be brilliant, and Onyenwere could be great. And if I am wrong about this, fair play, because, look, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of Chicago Sky after the whole team jumping up to celebrate a cheap shot, you can't deny that they work their asses off, and it is always good to see a team that outworks everybody else doing well. So hopefully they can get some wins. I just can't see this being anything other than a tank job.